pick up on this transmission. What do you call us well? Why don't you think of us as... If we were going to put it into a simple Earth terms, why don't you call us the 15th? The 15th dimensional consciousness center for the Andromeda and the Milky Way galaxies. You see, dear souls, some time back, and your illusionary time frame. Quite a while back, really, in your time frame. There were 1,000 galaxies that were terraformed, the two special ones. There were two special ones out of the mix. You know them as the Milky Way and the Andromeda. They were terraformed, with teeming life all over, yet to be separate from each other, until both galaxies were to meet with one another, and to talk about their experiences, to talk about their similarities, to talk about their differences, which there are many of both. Dear souls, it is also a fact that two humanoid races were seeded. There was a collective that came into the Milky Way galaxy through your End Terrace gateway. This collective was vast and large and looking to start new life. They had all sorts of different humanoids, different colored ones, different colors of your rainbowed ones. Ones that look like your feline, ones that look like your canine, ones that look like reptoids. Lots of different families, lots of different collectives, yet all together as a collective, different families together as a collective to start in a terraform and start life teaming in other places. That we will talk about the majority of them another time, possibly. We want to talk about two races that were seeded to start with. Now, the same family out of those collective, the same race, which there were about 200 families and 35 different races. So, two of the families from the same race. We're the ones that were responsible for seeding. What you know is your Arcturians, which are the oldest humanoid race in your galaxy. Soon after, that same family, along with some other, a couple of other of the families of the collective dear souls, they were the ones that seeded the Larans shortly after. Now, at the same time that this was going on, though, with Arcturus, with this family, these members of the same family broke away over to the Andromeda Galaxy, which, Earth terms, is about 2.5 billion years away. Distance-wise, you might say. Now, they were the same exact lineage. They grew up and evolved separate from each other, completely separate from each other. But if you look their soul, you can tell that they are. They are. You will see slight differences to your souls between the two, of course, because they evolve different. They did not evolve together, so, of course, naturally, the realm of life that's going to happen. But the similarities are so overwhelming when you really take a good look at it and look past the superficial surface of it. Now, as you know, it has been talked about and fear-mongered about that. Two galaxies are going to collide with each other. This is not the case. Dear souls, they going to collide, but two worlds are going to collide. What that means is, dear souls, and this will be a big deal then, too. Like what you're going through your ascension, this will be a big deal, and this will take the race. Whoever is on your planet at that time, whatever form, whatever shape, whatever ascension level they are at. Because if things go like they should and go to plan, of course, life will still be there. Then, any kind of natural disaster that was going to occur could be taken care of with technology and consciousness by then. But back to the point, dear souls. This is what the 15th Dimensional Consciousness Center is trying to explain to you. Is it this collision is going to be two worlds, two twins, you might say, in a way, coming back together. The interaction of two galaxies becoming one, two chosen galaxies out of 1,000 when your local area of the universe was terraformed. You see, everything has a process to your souls. Nothing just happens with a blink of an eye. Things have to be structured. Things have to be built. How do you think your planets were made? Your planets were not just thought of, and then they were there. They were thought of course, through consciousness, but the design had to take place as well. The building of it had to take place as well. Yes, it is true. There are beings so far advanced and so evolved that they can think those kind of things into existence, but that does not mean they come into your existence to your souls. That's a whole other level. It's just like so many people on Earth have a hard time with the concept that, well, they either think that the galaxy that they're looking at was built and it was real, or some of them think that it's just a holographic universe. Dear souls, we here at the 15th Dimensional Consciousness Center for the Andromeda and the Milky Way Galaxy are here to tell you you're both right. Now yes, you are both right. It is not only a holographic universe that you are all seeing together as a collective, but it was also structured and built, and it's actually there as well. You see, dear souls, your mind is a lot more powerful than you can ever dream to imagine. However, when you are together with others that are part of your genetics, part of your DNA, part of your same human race, you all see something similar together. If that makes sense to your souls, you all see the similar thing in front of you, you all project that in your own little way. You have different descriptions of it, but you all project that. So you're projecting that and seeing that was also terraformed and structured and built. You see, most of the time, your soul's well, really all the time. Nothing ever really is, or it really isn't. Okay. Dear ones, you always live. You always live by this, yes or no mentality. But with a few cosmic exceptions. There is no just yes or no. It's always in the details, dear souls. Some of you already know this and realize this, that will hear that you realize that you don't need to pay to it. You don't. However, dear souls, I'm speaking to those of you that do already know it, if you're going to. Be in the habit of explaining those type of things to others that might not be as evolved as you. It might not hurt your souls to actually read the details for your articulation purposes. If that makes sense to your ones? Now, as far as consciousness goes in, your Andromeda and your Milky Way, and the other 998 galaxies that were formed in your part of the universe. Dimensions. Let's talk about dimensions to your souls. Dimensions are endless. They are absolutely endless and infinite. However, and your young part of the woods, as you would say, dear souls, if you wanted to box it in and put it into an Earth term, type of a lingo, or really any lingo for any race that's still in the Andromeda or Milky Way galaxy. The 15th dimension. Where we are coming from is as far as your mind can reach right now. You can get glimpses of a little further out, some of you. But the 15th dimension is the limit. But that limit is fluid. That limit could change in a nanosecond, as you would say. It is fluid. You take the Milky Way galaxy. For example, the 13th dimension was the highest that they could reach. Now, your Arcturian are getting ready to have an ascension, go on themselves, and have the 14th dimension readily available for them to exist in. Also, they will have access to tapping into the 15th dimension. On a constant basis, the dimensions are endless to your souls. They really, really are. And in your universe is tapped out basically at the 144th dimension. Now, your universe is one of the youngest in the entire cosmos. After you go from let's take Earth, for example, dear souls. After you go from your country to your planet to your solar system, keels start to your star system, to your constellation, to your galaxy, to your universe, then it goes on to your cosmos. There are endless universes, and from what we understand, there are a heck of a lot of cosmos, as you would put it. Probably infinite cosmos numbers. Far beyond yours, and our capability here at the 15th Dimensional Consciousness Center for the Andromeda and Milky Way Galaxy. To comprehend even, they are endless. What is after a cosmos? We're not even sure here at the 15th dimension. Most don't even know what to call it after a universe. It is the cosmos. If you were to put it in your terms, your souls. Well, this goes out to the entire Andromeda and Milky Way galaxy from us, but we're mainly here. We're talking to Earth. Right now, those starseeds and light workers that are stationed on Earth and souls of Earth that are ready to hear something like this. Your two worlds will collide, billions of years from now, sure, but you're infinite, your souls, especially with your awakening now. Attention, Earth humans. It's all going to be at one time. It's all going to be on a horizontal plateau instead of a vertical plateau, your time frame. Your two worlds will collide. We don't want to use the word that Milky Way galaxy inhabitants. We do not want an Andromeda galaxy inhabitants. We do not want to give the impression, and especially to Earth, and box us in. And use the word your twin, because all of these galaxies in your nectar, the cosmos, were built in the same manner. Your two galaxies, Andromeda and Milky Way, were chosen because your creation was being manifested. Your two galaxies responded best to the manifestation skills and tactics that were used to create you far better and far more superiorly in certain ways than the others. You two galaxies stood out, and that's why we have chosen to address this message to you. Your consciousness evolves. Don't ever let anybody put any limits on it. We are not here to tell you that the 15th dimension is the highest that you can go. That's not true, but structurally, the way it is. This is the thought. This is to get you to think your souls. This isn't them. This is not to plant something into your mind, and this is not to mess with your mind either. This is just to get you to think, and just be aware. We are not asking that you sit there all day long on one of your sitting devices and contemplate things that are both not ready to understand, and things that are not relevant for you to know at this time. We're figuring it out too. Gear souls, we're all figuring it out. We all know, and you all know, that we all are this. We are all the source. We are all the source. That is exactly when we get back to the Andromeda and the Arcturian thing. That's why. Mostly they're alike, even though they did not evolve together. Because we are all creation, our similarities are going to outdo, no matter what, are going to far outweigh any differences we might have, and our differences. Dear souls are completely geographic. You humans as humans are everywhere. And humans are not just in body form. They're also in a consciousness level at certain dimensions. Once you get into what you call your 8th dimension, if you want to look like a human in a human body, you have to use what's called a holograph with your mind, because you're just a consciousness. You're like what you would call an orb or a light ray. But a lot of souls that inhabit those areas, they still choose to use a light body to identify each other with, which is wonderful. It is also why the Procyon, brothers and sisters, the humans of that, those two huge planets in that system of Canis Minor, you call it, they have technology that goes past the 11th and 12th dimensions. However, they choose not to ascend as a race past the 7th dimension. They don't want to lose that human body completely. They're in the lightest body possible with which there's still being some physicality to it. And that is their choice. They have made as a collective. Their mind is way far evolved past that, and their technology is as well. But as a race physically, that's what they have chosen, dear souls. Your similarities are alike because, as we know, getting back to the point, your souls, we are all part of the creation at a certain consciousness level. We wake up and we are all part of what is called God. I am you. You are me. We are one mind at that level. You can imagine Earth souls if you can fathom this. Imagine a couple of trillion timed. Imagine your consciousness level. Imagine the person you met, or you think has the highest consciousness level you've ever met. Or your consciousness level is fairly high, you think. Imagine it being 3 trillion, 2 or 3 trillion times bad, at least. So you can imagine dear souls and waking up and realizing you're it. And you're everything. But we're all you. And we're all one. But what we don't we don't know that much more than you do here. At the 15th dimension, dear souls, and the Pleiadians and races like that, and even the Arcturians and Andromedans will be the first to tell you, when it comes to the lineage, and how it went down over an endless time period. They know a little bit more, but they don't know a lot more comparatively. Gear souls will put it to you like this. If you took the person on your planet that knew the most about our cosmic history, and you took somebody from the Pleiades you took somebody from your lying Lyran constellation, you took somebody from the Arcturus star system, and you all took a geograph, or you all took a history test. What you might call it, as far as our galactic history goes. The person on Earth. Let's say that they got what you would call your average grade. They got a C or a C+. Well, the Arcturian Pleiadian. They'd probably get about A, B+, or an A-. They don't know a lot more than you do a little bit, but they don't know a lot more. About who came from where, and then where before there. Because you have to understand your souls. If we were going to come down to your level and break it down into time frames. This collective that came through the enterics that first settled. The different humanoid races all over your galaxy in Andromeda. That was a few trillion years back in your time frame. Dear souls, at least. They came from a galaxy that was highly evolved and highly ascended. They're only a step or two away from the highest evolved beings in your galaxy. So, they're young yet. And with infinite universes, or universes with infinite galaxies, infinite cosmos. How old do you think life is your souls? It is it. We do not kid around here at the 15th Dimensional Consciousness Center when we say that it would probably be not healthy for you to know that number for your mind. Now, it wouldn't scare you. It literally would probably send you into a shock to try to contemplate the number, and it probably would do that to us as well here at the 15th Dimensional Consciousness Center. For the Andromeda and the Milky Way galaxies, your 2 galaxies will come together. We just wanted you to know that we're around now. We'll be popping in from time to time. We're in, we're out, and we're here, and we're there. But we're nowhere. And yet, we're everywhere. Still, dear souls, think about it. With that, we will depart, and again, to box it into an Earth term. Call us the 15th Dimensional Consciousness Center for your Andromeda Milky Way Galaxy, and we love you so much.